Good morning to all of those of you who are here. It's the I Stand Correct podcast, I guess. It's been called a couple different things over the years, over the 2 years that I have done it. Is it two or just one? Anyway, good morning to everybody that's here. Chase, I haven't seen you here in a while. You've been hiding somewhere. Elijah, good morning. Calling us comrades. It's been a while since that. I've seen that as well. Glad that we're bringing that back. Tyler is here. Jenny's here. Good morning. It's nice to see you guys. Felony Melanie, also somebody who has come and gone recently. I feel like since this show is actually about something, maybe I should talk about it. Wanted to discuss the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, although everyone else is talking about it. So it's like, what could I possibly bring to the table on that subject? Well, other than it's extremely misunderstood by a lot of people, we know that Colbert already got axed. His show is going to end next year, and then not only is it just Colbert's going away, but the whole show is over with. So this thing that we've all taken for granted since before we were born, we're damn near close to that. I mean, not everyone here is as young as me. I mean, when did Letterman switch over? He was on the late night show after Johnny Carson, and when Johnny retired, he went to CBS and did his own show, the opposite of Jay Leno. That was sort of the proliferation of that. That's when we got the Tonight Show, the Late Show. Tom Snyder had a show after that. It became Craig Ferguson, and that Craig Kilborn, all the Craigs. And then that evolved to almost the present day with Taylor Tomlinson having kind of a hybridized talk show, game show. And of course, Conan, Seth Meyers. We get all these talk shows that kind of came out of the Tonight Show. It all kind of came from the Tonight Show with who was the first host? Was it Steve Allen or Jack Parr? Somebody tell me. But it's a very, very old idea. It's a very as a concept for selling books and selling movies and selling TV shows and selling advertising. It's and as a portal into the world of Hollywood and television in New York. It's very passe, and in the world of the internet, it doesn't seem to matter very much. Well, so the format itself is dying. They got rid of Colbert. Colbert was leading in the ratings. You have to remember he was number one, and they just decided we're not going to renew your contract. We told you in advance you can watch as much Colbert as you want. So the guy that's number one is already losing a show. Part of the reason for that was that Colbert was in last place when it came to YouTube. YouTube is now the new marketplace of entertainment and ideas. It's the reason why I'm here. It's the reason why Com Center has changed so much to become a show that's really YouTube oriented and not so much podcast oriented. We put out episodes now on YouTube that don't even make it to the audio because it doesn't translate to audio anymore. If you think about it, our whole concept always was we're going to play this 911 phone call for you, but then we're going to show you body cam. You know, and it almost never made sense to do that as an audio podcast that we're going to show you body cam. We're going to listen to us showing you this body cam. It didn't make sense. So YouTube is really replacing that in age groups for people my age and younger. So look at the cost too. It's extremely expensive. Millions of dollars to put on one of these things. How much does it cost to put together an episode of Joe Rogan? And that guy's got production staff. He's got switches for his camera producer to go back and forth. This guy that'll pull up articles or whatever and kind of interact with Joe Rogan when he needs something. But it's Joe Rogan and some really nice sound equipment. some nice microphones, some nice headphones that he only has to buy one time. The other person that's in the room, who doesn't, I assume, doesn't get paid to be there. And it's the number one podcast in this country and on earth. And their viewership is a lot higher than anything Kimmel or Colbert or Fallon is putting out. And it's for a lot less money. Think about it. Think about how much was swayed in recent pop culture history. You know, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, JD Vance all going on Rogan was such a huge deal. Harris missing out on these opportunities because she misunderstood modern media was also a huge reason why her turnout was low. So the medium itself is dying. All right, so we understand that that's the marketplace that we're in. That's kind of what's changed specifically over the last 4 years, over the last 10 years. But let's also understand how the structure works even beyond that, because it's not just ABC that we're talking about. We're talking about Nexstar, which is this conglomerate of these smaller affiliates. So ABC will make the network feed, and then your local station, whether it's WTKR or whatever it is, will pick up that feed, you know, from the hours of 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. and then again from 11:35 after the news, you know, to 1:35 or whatever it is in the morning after both shows are over. That's the network program that gets played on your local station. So your local station is picking up this feed. It's the reason why when you go to different places and you're staying at a hotel and you're like, why is Wheel of Fortune on early? It's because all this other programming is syndicated, and these local stations can do what's best for them, and they set up programming so that people will watch them and they can sell advertisements. So that's why you might go one place and see reruns of the Rockford Files, and you go someplace else and you're seeing reruns of Seinfeld, you know, whatever. So they only have a certain number of hours during the day that they're picking up this network feed. Well, also in their contracts are that they get to negotiate how commercials work. They get to negotiate how much network programming they're allowed to preempt per year, because they're not obligated to take all the feed from the networks. If they don't think it'll work for their market, they don't have to play it. You ever wonder why you're watching a major show, whether it's you know, Love Island or you know, I don't know what you guys like watching, some major show, or even a sporting event, and you'll see a commercial for McDonald's, and you'll see a commercial for Apple, you'll see a commercial for Starbucks, but then you see a commercial for Hank's Furniture. Come on down to Hank's Furniture on 8th Street, you know, or like some carpet cleaning company, you know. Why are you seeing commercials for national concerns like McDonald's, but you're also seeing concerns for like some business that's in town? Well, it's because the affiliate divides up that time. You know, the network gets a certain amount of advertising time. That money goes to the network, it goes to ABC. The rest of that commercial time goes to the affiliate. They can sell those slots during, you know, Monday Night Football or whatever. They can sell that to Hank's Furniture or local carpet cleaning store. So what you have is these small companies in these small markets like Dubuque, Iowa, and they don't want to be associated with Jimmy Kimmel going out there and saying some of the things that he's saying, because they're ugly things, and they know that their customers are not only not into that, but it's like, if you're Hank's Furniture, why are you there to court controversy? Do you really want someone to say like, why did you buy a commercial during that? Because that feedback's there, especially in a universe where Facebook is real and Yelp is real. You know, you just don't want to be associated with that. It's a bad look. It really doesn't matter what Jimmy Kimmel said. It's a bad look, and you don't want to be associated with it. So you have all these individual affiliates who have the power to say, well, we're not going to air Jimmy Kimmel's show because we have that right in our contract. We don't have to air this. So all of a sudden, that's lost revenue to all those ABC affiliates who now can't sell McDonald's and Starbucks and Apple commercials in those markets, because Nexstar, those 26 affiliates, says, well, we're not going to air Kimmel. We're not going to do that. So those commercials are now off the air. They're not going to earn money from those. And Nexstar has avoided a bad situation where by airing those things, they also didn't get any money because Carl's or Craig's or Stevens Furniture and the local carpet cleaning company, they didn't pull their advertising dollars. So the local WTKR affiliate's not going to lose money that way. They want to make sure that they're still getting commercials out. So what happens is you have a failing business model that nobody's watching. All these people who, by the way, are upset about Jimmy Kimmel, none of them are watching him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in this predicament either. But they're failing to understand what the business is. The business is already failing. The business is already crumbling beneath their feet. And Jimmy Kimmel didn't understand that his position was a very, very weak one to take any kind of a stand on. He's not standing on a solid foundation. He's standing on crackling ice when he did this. Here's the other thing. Everyone loves a winner. And when you're doing well, when you're making money, people will forgive you of anything. Case in point, you want to know why the Washington Redskins had to change their name, but the Kansas City Chiefs did not? I mean, I could break it down for you in like great detail about how the Chiefs are actually named after a white guy that they called Chief because he was actually just the mayor of Kansas City and was really helpful in bringing over the Kansas City Chiefs from Texas in 1964, 65, whatever it was. The reason for it is because the Redskins were losing and the Chiefs were winning. So when you're not funny and nobody's watching you and you're not influential anymore and you start making comments like these and there's no money in it for anyone to stand by you, people are going to leave your side. They're not going to stand up and support you. And now conservatives are looking at this like, well, finally ABC's coming around. Finally, Disney's doing the right thing and they're yanking the rug out from under this guy. It's possible that part of the decision to stop producing Jimmy Kimmel episodes has to do with that, but I doubt it. Again, it's a money loss scenario. And if they can capture some sentiment on the right, this market, by the way, that they have long since forgotten. They haven't cared about alienating Republicans or conservatives for a long time just because of who Jimmy Kimmel is and who Stephen Colbert is. If they can capture some of that interest and make us stop hating Disney so much, then they're all about that too. But what it really comes down to is just money. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled into thinking that this is some sort of great moment in the history of the conservative movement that someone like Jimmy Kimmel's show is ending or Colbert's show is ending. It's purely money. It's all that it is. So there's really no reason to celebrate that or to think that it's really cool. There's also no reason to think that it has anything to do with freedom of speech. Do I really have to break that down? I mean, what does the First Amendment say? Congress shall make no law prohibiting free speech. It also says, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, and all these things. But basically, all that means is that the federal government can't make a law which would result in you going to prison. It doesn't mean that no one else can't get upset at you. They seem to not understand that. They seem to think, well, I'm free to say anything that I want to say and that there's no consequences for that. There are consequences for that. Business has fallen through. Howard Stern has lost his show on XM as well. I don't know if you're aware of that. But these guys lost their broad appeal that they had 10, 20 years ago. And part of that is because of a failing strategy. Like, I remember when Colbert came on and he's replacing Letterman, people expected him to be as funny as he was on the Colbert Report, where he played a fake character. He was playing a fake conservative character as kind of a fake counterpoint to Jon Stewart's Daily Show. And it was completely glib and he was never being himself at any point. Well, then he comes out as sort of himself, this sort of like ugly, less than funny. If he can't do an impersonation of it, he really has nothing funny to say at all. And the only way the show was it was a failure from the get-go, Stephen Colbert show. And the only way they saw any kind of uptick in ratings or anything was to try to kick the hornet's nest that was the people that hated Donald Trump. And I remember when that happened. I remember, first of all, when the first election night happened in 2016, their entire show was set up, designed because they expected Hillary to win. You have to remember there was a time when Donald Trump was really an underdog and no one expected anything of him. But then he won, and I remember Colbert had this person on the show saying that Donald Trump getting elected to the presidency was worse for America than 9/11. And Colbert, nodded and agreed to this quite somberly. And it was this, oh shucks, what do we do now? The sky is falling moment. And then they leaned into the hatred of Donald Trump for the next 4 years. And then they felt really good about themselves because Joe Biden was elected. And of course, I don't think that he was. I think Donald Trump was elected. And so in 2016, Colbert didn't understand his audience because they elected Trump. He chose the wrong side on that one. He thought it was going to be Hillary Clinton. So if we just use elections versus his own ratings, he's leaning the wrong way in 2016. And when I say leaning, he doesn't have to lean at all. He could appeal to everybody, like Jay Leno. He's even come out and said, you don't want to lecture when you're watching these shows. You just want to have a good time. You just want to be entertained. But he's going to lecture, so he's going to lean one way and not the other. In 2020, he continued to lean the wrong way, and there wasn't any proof in the pudding because of the way that the election completely changed at 3 a.m. He got that wrong. And in 2024, he's continuing to rail against Donald Trump and everything on conservatism. And look what happened. Look what happened this past November. Donald Trump received a huge mandate from the people. So, I mean, what do you want, man? For the past 10 years, you've been getting it wrong in terms of where the audience is. And all you had to do was not alienate half of that audience. But you turned off half the audience 10 years ago. And you expected to win a marathon on one leg. Even Michael Jordan is famous for saying back in the 90s, when it comes to his famous Air Jordan sneakers, he said that Republicans buy shoes too. He saw no reason to alienate the Republicans because their money spends as good as Democrat Party's money. So he knew not to alienate the Republicans because that was going to be a huge source of where all his money was coming from. So I think the writing's on the wall. I think this is a moment where Kimmel's trying to make a lot out of this, but if he's not coming back, even if he sues, by the time everything's litigated, his contract will be over. He won't go back on the air. He's going to wind up on a podcast, which, by the way, will never be as successful as Rogan or any of these other guys. I would be surprised if it ever broke into the top 200. Did you know Michelle Obama has a podcast and it's not in the top 200? Don't fool yourself. Podcasting is, there's a lot of conservatives listening in the media of podcasting. But Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, they're going to be gone too, and a long-standing tradition of the Tonight Show will be over. But it's, as much as I used to like those shows, particularly when it was Conan, that format of the monologue and the band and the first guest and the second guest and the bit comedy, that's all kind of over with. And they're going to try to complain, say that it's a hit job by way of the FCC, but these people who are standing up and defending Jimmy Kimmel and saying that he's been hatcheted for what he's saying are not paying attention. They're also not people who are watching the show. So I don't know. It's just interesting because it seems like Jimmy Kimmel didn't understand the position he was in. He didn't understand that by taking the risk of going out there and saying these things, that he was going to further alienate the wrong people at the wrong time. And that without firm backing, not only for a contract which extended beyond 2026, that maybe the business side would fall through. He's not going to jail. No one's charging him with a crime. But, ABC isn't going to pay for something that they're probably already losing money on. They're just fulfilling the contract to Kimmel, but they're not going to lose even more money when 26 stations turn it off. Like, at that point, you're taking a situation in which you're bleeding and you're turning it into a hemorrhage of money. And when they can take something else and put it on the air, they can litigate with Kimmel, try to defray the cost. And they know that all the outrage from Twitter and CNN is going to be over next week. That stuff doesn't last very long. It's all going to be chewed up, and we're going to move on to some other topic of discussion in the national zeitgeist. I don't feel bad for Kimmel. I don't feel bad for his huge, expensive writer's room of probably 13 people, all of which who are drawing a paycheck that is not justifiable by how not funny that show is. Who I do feel bad for is the people who were completely contingent to what Jimmy Kimmel said, but he had no say. They had no say on it. Cameramen, sound engineers, guest wranglers, people that filled up the snacks in the green room, people that, conducted the guests into the studio, ushers, security guards, all these people who really drew a paycheck based off of the fact that the show was in production. They all were probably told, the show's not getting renewed beyond 2026. So that's showbiz, baby. Make sure that you have plans for that. But they got axed early, and it was all because that insufferable asshole had to get up there and say something that he frankly could have said in another forum. I don't know why Jimmy Kimmel wasn't smart enough to start his own podcast and say, like, After Hours with Jimmy Kimmel, and that's when he could say whatever he wants to say, because his setup doesn't have to be that much more complicated than mine. I don't know. Just something to think about. He could have done things differently, but he decided not to. And now he's trying to make free speech a part of it. Pam Bondi also responding the wrong way. She was, unless I'm misquoting her, she was saying she was going to go after anyone who went after hate speech. Well, you can't phrase it that way, Pam. You can't say that we're going to go after people who go after hate speech. There's no such thing as hate speech as defined by the Constitution. There's no such thing as hate speech as defined by the law. And as the Attorney General, you should not only be aware of this, but you should be wary of language like that, because the government defining anything as hate speech is a problem. You don't get to define that. That's thought policing. Even if you're on our side saying we're going to go after the people who are going after hate speech, you're still legitimizing the very concept of hate speech, which you shouldn't be doing. You should just say, well, the government's going to stay out of it. If you make threats against people, there's certainly laws on the books about threats. If you're planning to assassinate someone, those are definitely things that we're concerned about, and we're going to be looking at and hopefully doing a better job of, so that we don't get stuck in the unfortunate position of saying, once again, he was on our radar. But when it comes to the court of public discourse, town hall, town square, whatever, it's just none of your business what anybody's saying. Don't legitimize the idea of hate speech. We need to move away from that. And here's my final point on that, if I may. If there is such a thing as hate speech, and there isn't, then it's exactly what the First Amendment was written for. And it's the only kind of speech that is protected, is hate speech. There is no other speech that is protected, just hate speech. Why? Because saying nice things, saying kind things, saying politically correct things, no one's going to throw you in jail over. No one's hopefully going to shoot you over. It's only the hateful things that are protected. We knew that when we wrote the First Amendment, that we wanted to criticize the king, we wanted to criticize the government, and we didn't want to be thrown in jail over it. Well, this criticism was not going to take the form of fun, nice things that we were going to say about King George III. We knew we were going to burn him. It was going to be rough on Georgie. And we wanted to make sure that Americans understood that they could criticize King George III and they could criticize George Washington, if they felt like it, and it wasn't going to result in time in jail. So no one has ever been concerned about someone saying a nice thing about King George III and going to jail, or saying a nice thing about George Washington all the way up to the present day and going to jail. So it's only the ugly things that need the First Amendment. That's it. It's only the ugliest things, the stuff that you hate hearing. That's the only thing that's protected by the First Amendment, because you don't have a recourse to go out there and tell them to shut up. And believe me, as insane as it sounds, I get calls to the police department, to the sheriff's department, someone insisting that we make someone else be quiet. Well, they're on Facebook saying all these untrue things about me. Do you expect a police officer to go to their door and to take their phone away, to unplug their computer? Some people literally expect this. We have done such a terrible job of explaining basically fifth grade civics to people that they don't understand it anymore. They think that they have the right to avoid hurt feelings. Now, there is such a thing as, defamation. There's libel, there's slander. Okay. If that's all civil stuff, you can go before a judge and make a case in a court of law that someone has impacted your ability to make an income based off of untrue things they've said about you. But in a civil court of law, no one's facing jail time either. They might have to pay compensatory damages commensurate to whatever's fair compared to your lost income. That's it. No one's going to jail over bad mouthing you on the internet, at least not in this country, and at least not yet. We so badly misunderstand the First Amendment. And, I have gotten in trouble for things I've said before, but I never threw out this line, but I have the right to say whatever I want to say. I realize that, especially on Comm Center, where the audience is that especially if I'm representing myself as an 911 dispatcher, I need to be professional. I need to represent my profession well, but I also need to not represent my agency at all. So that's the reason for that, is because anything that would happen to me at work would be some kind of justifiable. They employ me. They have the right to decide whether or not I still work there. And if I'm doing the wrong thing, if I'm making them look bad, why are they obligated to keep me around? If you got a wart on your face, are you obligated to leave it there? It is the raspberry cream, Jenny, and it's delicious. I've got to send you a package. My energy drinks, I move around from time to time, and I get stuck on a favorite. Right now, the raspberry cream is my favorite. Did I see Foxy here? Is she finally here? She's here. That's good. And Tyler's here, by the way. Tony, are you in Canada right now? Going to Canada for a few days? Going alone to Canada. Boy, that's making some interesting choices there. Will Cray's here. The production cost is flights and dinner plus paying salaries. Well, it's also that big damned studio and making sure that your episode gets out every single day with edits and all of that. Harris is also an idiot. She had that going against her as well. The fact that she could not have a conversation with Joe Rogan for 3 hours on serious matters of policy or anything. They knew that she couldn't survive the format. When Charlie Sheen can go out there and do it, but you can't. And nothing against Charlie Sheen. I'm just saying the guy's a disaster, but he went out there and put on a show for 3 hours that was entertaining, informative, enlightening, serious. You don't come out of watching Charlie Sheen for 3 hours of Joe Rogan and you think the guy's an idiot. She knew that she was good. She was going to be set up that way. Michael Edricks, it's possible that your phone has YouTube notifications turned off. Maybe you should turn those on your phone. Or just always be here every Monday. You guys notice that Kiefer's doing a show with random other people now? What is going on there? I could ask him, but he doesn't call me. I tell him to call me sometimes. He doesn't call me. Hello, lovies, she said. 20 minutes late. Tally you. Come on now. And I guess Abby's on her way to the gym. I have so many memes this week that YouTube literally won't let me upload any more memes. I had a pretty good start to the meme collecting week. And then yesterday was like gangbusters. I don't know if I finally made a breakthrough in my algorithm. I don't know if not to be heartless, but like some of the Charlie Kirk posting has died down a little bit. And so my algorithm is kind of cleared out a little bit so that other things are kind of rising to the top. Drew was at the event yesterday. I watched the clip where Erica came out and was seen with President Trump. They didn't say anything. They just appeared together in person, and he showed some support for her. And I thought it was sweet. You know, Donald Trump's not exactly Charlie Kirk, and I think he would tell you that. And to be honest with you, you know, if Donald Trump had been assassinated last year, I think we all would have really been upset about it, but it would have been really different. We would have felt like our choices were being taken away. With Charlie Kirk, it's just like, why did you kill this really nice guy for no reason? Like, we would understand why you would want to kill Donald Trump. The guy's a threat to you. Charlie Kirk's not a threat to anybody, you know? So it's just such a needless thing. I think killing Donald Trump would accomplish something for the left. Like, it would actually help them reach their goals. I don't know what goal killing Charlie Kirk helped progressives or the Democratic Party or the general left. I don't know what goal that was supposed to help them achieve. It definitely hasn't helped because people are looking at this like, well, this is the party that cheers on a murder, that cheers on a ugly and brutal assassination. This is the party that cheers on the widowing of a wife and the orphaning of children. I think there's some extremists on that side who don't realize that they're driving people who are independents and in the middle. They're driving them further right because who wants to be associated with that? These people are out there and they're being seen, you know, smashing up candlelight vigils for Charlie Kirk. These people are losing their jobs as well. And I think a normal, reasonable person will either be like, no one deserves to get shot. But then they'll see people who share their talking points saying that he deserved it because of his beliefs. And we don't say that on this side. I've never thought anybody, no matter how radical on the other side of the political debate, deserved to eat one. I've never said that. You never hear that rhetoric from our side. And anyone who's been politically activated in the last 5 years will take note that when George Floyd was killed or died, you know, swallowing all that fentanyl so he didn't pick up a PCS charge, and half the country burned down and we were all miserable and law and order was on the run. And then when Charlie Kirk was brutally assassinated in front of people by a sniper, that everyone just cried and prayed and tried to make sense of it, and we comforted each other. Like, if what happened to George Floyd was legitimate and they were morally the same thing and not just a bunch of thugs taking an opportunity to be lawless and steal TVs from Target because as a criminal, George Floyd would have wanted it that way. I still don't really understand the looting. But if they were morally equivalent, then when George Floyd died, we would have seen the Charlie Kirk response for him. But we didn't see that, did we? And that's how you know that one side is not morally equivalent to the other. And if you don't see that, you're on the wrong side. If you don't understand the assassination of Charlie Kirk and why people are responding the way they are, you're on the wrong side. You don't get the message. The message wasn't for you because the message was for us. So you're on the wrong side. I don't know. I'm talking to the choir here. There's nobody here that really disagrees with me, I'm sure. Jimmy Kimmel has been walking a fine line with his mouth, starting with a man show. Well, in the man show, he was doing blackface and all kinds of sexist comedy that, he never got canceled for. I just jumped in a few minutes ago, and now I'm in that dilemma of whether or not to go back or just to stick with it. Drew, you should actually just constantly go back in 5-minute chunks so that it's like Memento or Tenet. It's like a Christopher Nolan podcast where it gets revealed to you in the wrong order. I bet it was Pack 812, and if it was, I remember you. Oh, yes. I have no idea what he means. I know of YouTubers who sued other YouTubers for defamation, and they all made settlements, and a judge said, leave each other alone. Yeah, it's like kids fighting in the background. I just meant to speak about defamation very, very loosely. I always feel like when I let a lot of comments go by, then I forget where I was, and I can't remember. Charlie Sheen hasn't been the same since The Outsiders. I believe he mentioned that movie that he was on during that show, but I don't think I've seen that movie. Keith caught the monkeypox and it's affecting his judgment. Okay. What a statement. A little mean. I feel like I can't say anything to tease Keith because I think he thinks I'm like legitimately mad at him. Just not the case. All right. It's been 37 minutes as usual. I talked a whole bunch. Hopefully that, those are my feelings on Jimmy Kimmel. If anyone cares, that I feel bad for his staffers who are without a job. Other than that, ABC was just looking for an excuse to stop the hemorrhaging of money. That's it. And we should all understand it as a business decision. But he'll try to stoke feelings of the zeitgeist of people being very emotionally distressed. He'll try to make it emotional, and he'll try to almost co-opt the statements of Donald Trump or of the inherent message of Charlie Kirk that they did it to me and they'll do it to you. They silenced me and they'll silence you next. Well, just make us laugh, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel was paid $88,000 per episode. $88,000. Can you imagine making $88,000 for a couple hours worth of work? Maybe he was a little bit harder working than that, but the show was only an hour long. He would only get 129,000 viewers per show. That is not very much, folks. The biggest city in my small state has more than 129,000 viewers in it. There's 300 million people in this country, and he was only getting 129,000 viewers per show. Sad. And how many of those were from all night gyms, people that fell asleep with the news on, ABC was paying 68 cents per person with watching his show. Basically, they were losing money. They were losing money, paying him that much, paying his writers that much, paying for the production. All those people who now lost their jobs, they were essentially to make this show, they're literally paying the viewers. That's why he was fired. People don't like him. It's as simple as that. This picture doesn't help. It's a very bad picture of him. James Woods. I love James Woods ever since his appearance on The Simpsons, by the way. We've all made jokes at Jimmy Kimmel's expense, but Mr. Kimmel is a fellow artist, and I am in fact heartbroken to see the way he has been treated. I believe he is, in his heart of hearts, a good and decent fellow, devoid of malice and hate. Just kidding, Jumbo. Eat shit. And don't kid yourself. He is a fucking asshole, and he is full of hate. And he's a mouthpiece for the party of hate. If I may go on, and I may. I think Drew and I were discussing this, possibly me and somebody else, but it's like Charlie Kirk. The reason why none of these people are sad about Charlie Kirk being killed is because the people that are cheering for him don't value anything that he embodied. Being alive, they don't value life. We know that. I mean, not only from killing him, but also abortion. They don't value success because a lot of these people are not very successful, and it is the politics of envy that they blame a system where systemic racism is what holds me back, or white privilege is what holds me back. So they don't value success because whatever their failures are, it's not their fault. So how could success be something that they're after? Ultimately, they're not after success. Do you realize that if the Progressive Party achieved all of their supposed ends of lifting everyone out of poverty and making everyone equal and making everything great again, there would be no need for their party because that's their platform, is the empowering of victims. Well, suppose all the victims were empowered. Suppose all the women, all the people who are on the margins, suppose they were all moved to the forefront. Well, then what? Party over, party done, we succeeded? No. Conservatism is about making people self-sufficient. And we would love for that to happen. And we would love to keep you self-sufficient. That would only be the thing that a true conservative party would do. And I don't mean the Republican Party, by the way. They don't value children, as I already mentioned. They don't value marriage, his marriage to Erica. They don't value that. They don't value God. For them, statism is their religion, and their insane beliefs are their religion. That's why. By the way, the people who are on that side, they all believe the exact same thing. Like with me and Drew, you get me and Drew on the air. We've had debates. We don't agree on everything as conservatives. We don't, because we think different things. But on that side, you have to agree. You have to be all in for LGBTQIA ideology. It's just funny because even there's certain groups over there that splinter off. Like there's gays who are against trans ideology, and they're excoriated for that because they're heretics to the religion. So they don't value faith in God. They don't value success. They don't value marriage. They don't value children. They don't value life. This is why they can cheer for Charlie Kirk to be dead, because Charlie Kirk embodied everything that they hate. Everything. Lastly, he embodied winning an argument, which they also are not very good at. So to stop losing arguments, they stopped further arguments from happening. That's why they're cheering. It's not just because they're horrible people. I mean, they're horrible people as a result of their politics. Their politics are what makes them horrible. But he embodied everything that they hate. You soulless conservatives cheering on what happened to Jimmy Kimmel haven't stopped to think about Jimmy's wife and children. They now have to spend more time with Jimmy Kimmel, and no one deserves that. You're right. You're right. We should have thought more about Jimmy Kimmel's wife and children. AI is going to replace you. The brotherly love city. Philadelphia has a reputation for brotherly love, and its residents are generally accepting and welcoming to visitors regardless of the sports team they support. Yeah, that's not true. What is going on here? I don't normally have this much of the set exposed, and you can see the shadow that one of my lights casting. It's making me feel like Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, recently, with everything that happened before Charlie Kirk's murder, there was that Karen who was stealing that baseball at the Philadelphia Flyers, are the hockey team, right? Uh, I don't know the baseball team. Anyway, I don't like baseball and I don't like Philadelphia. Why would I know the name of that team? Anyway, the guy who is the Eagles CEO or whatever said that, we're gonna call for respect at Eagles games. And it's just like the mere fact that you have to call for that for respect at Eagles games when obviously human beings just can't show respect for each other, but you have to ask for that. I think it says a lot. All right, let's get on with some good memes. Feels like the Chinese government turned up the power on the sleepy ray they use on me every morning. Is that what's going on with me? The Chinese government just turns on the sleepy ray. I actually woke up this morning too early because I set my alarm at the wrong time. And then I laid there, and you do it where you ever lay there and you're like, well, I might as well get up soon. But then you fall into the deepest, most resplendent sleep of the entire evening, even though it's, now 9:30 in the morning and the sun's in your eyes. But I got the best, most comfortable sleep. I got so comfortable after my alarm went off, but before my next one did, I changed it to 10. To the point where when my alarm went off again at 10, I laid there till 10:16, just sort of in a state of dreary, dreamy wonderfulness. And I get up and I'm like, why do I do this show? It's more fun being in bed. Should I open up to someone? No, hope this helps. Thank you, Google. By the way, I just want to draw your attention first to the fact that this is from Reverend Ray Sistman, and then Black Power, Black Prayer, Blue Check. Reverend Ray Sistman, a black guy. And by the way, I always hate the reverends who are political first. But anyway, proof white men are violent criminals too. This guy has dark white skin. So would you describe if this guy was the one that beat you and robbed you and you're describing him to police, would you say, yeah, he's had dark white skin? Okay. I already played that one. And that one. All right. Just a little something to take the edge off. This is from Safe and Safe Legal Thrills. Just taking a hit off of a AAA where you're out by the lake. Safe and Legal Thrills. No, it's a PMG, I swear. You're lying. Why is the internet like this? Why is it when I'm looking for a PNG, it doesn't let me have the PNG? It's like, oh, you have to sign up and get an account to have this PNG. Are you joking right now? Why are PNGs this valuable? Like, I know why they're valuable, because they have the transparency layer that we all love so well. But they all say, like, oh, click here and you can have the PNG. By the way, did you guys like my Green Goblin impression? You're lying, Jameson. No, I swear the stuff comes in the mail. Come on, guys. Give it to me. 9-volt works better. Took a phone call, came back to eat shit. I'm going to catch up now. Did you mean you were eating something? Is that what you meant? Me forgetting time zones are a thing and questioning how Jonathan was sleeping at 10 when the show started at 9:30. Yeah, the earth is round. As much as we all hate that. My deepest morning sleep always involves the coziest dreams. Usually my husband is trying to kill me. That guy again, tell you. By the way, I cannot put up with this whole shadow thing. So I'm going to move that. So just enjoy. I'll play the next meme, and then I'm going to move that camera. There we go. I couldn't stand it. It's driving me nuts. I'd already put up with it for about an hour. Y'all ever had enough iced coffee so strong that you felt hope for like 4 minutes? I haven't. I've been drinking coffee again. You guys are gonna hate this, so I'll just rip the Band-Aid off. I like Caribou coffee. I don't like Starbucks. There's this new place called Seven Brew that I think is actually really popular. There's always a line there. And when I was getting ready to go on vacation, I was looking at maps of places in Virginia where I'm going, and I noticed they have Seven Brew there as well. So Seven Brew is apparently a thing that people care about a lot because they'll wait in line for. And there's also locations in Virginia where I'm from, so it's obviously like some sort of transcontinental endeavor at this point. I went to Seven Brew to try it out. Very disappointing. Didn't care for the coffee. Didn't care for the service. Didn't care for the entire experience. Not only that, but like I wanted sugar-free coconut syrup, which is also something else that's driving people away. Drew is like changing the passwords on me right now so that I can never do another show ever again. I like black coffee. I also just like coffee lots of different ways. I think there's more than one way to enjoy something. This from the cop that, by the way, had to do LSD and speed when he was in a narco. You know, he's going to get on me about, about how I enjoy my coffee. But it wasn't a good experience. Do you guys like Seven Brew? Have you been there? I'm wondering if you like that. I think we have a scooters. We have scooters here too, and I like scooters okay. We have a Seven Brew in Ohio. I prefer FRCC coffee at home. Well, I don't like being a chump and making my own coffee, so I'm not going to do that. It's the coastal version of scooters. Well, I'm in the continent where we have scooters and Seven Brew, I guess. So I guess there's not a whole lot of thoughts on my coffee. I saw a cute cat joke. If the world was really flat, wouldn't cats have knocked something off by now? It's not bad. Sorry, I keep running and coming back and watching an extra toddler and making breakfast. You know, you guys are not paying enough attention. Tyler's leaving and he's eating things, and Abby's driving around, and Foxy's attending to her children. I am all consuming. Do I have to say that again? I am all consuming. And I don't care if you can watch it on the replay. Right now is the only time that matters. I can't believe I'm an hour in and I've barely done any memes. Next week's show is just memes and no talking. I'm literally going to play like some free music during the memes. I'm going to have to take a few days off. My little brother drowned in his pool yesterday afternoon. Did anyone try putting him in rice? Just kidding. Take as much time as you need. Ooh, bad boss there. We'll do a bowl of cigarettes for the table. I feel like trying this. We'll do a bowl of cigarettes for the table just to see how it goes. Y'all remember in first grade when we were just chilling in class and somebody threw up out of nowhere? Yeah, you would get anxious or you would get sick or whatever. For you know, when you're a child, you get sick, I guess. You know, you're fine in the morning and then you probably eat something that doesn't sit well with you. And then you just throw up because you think, you know, you're not allowed to leave, you're not allowed to ask for permission, no one will believe you anyway. When you're a child, you really I remember being really stuck in routine and I didn't want to get sick, you know. So you would just Ralph in front of everybody. I smoked my neighbor's mailbox going like 45 and a 20 and instantly called the police, and I said I'd watched an Indian dude do it. Is that how Drew made detective? Was by following up by really specific descriptions like that? What was it? Was it in The Cable Guy where Jim Carrey, and I haven't seen that movie in forever, but he's just like, it was an Asian gang that did it. He's blaming an Asian gang. We already talked about the First Amendment. So thinking of becoming a weirdo Second Amendment guy, but for the Third Amendment, where I just show up at places where troops are yelling about how they're not going to sleep in my house. That's right. Quartering of troops was actually the Third Amendment. We don't talk about that one a lot, but as you can imagine, in a country where people live in houses that don't have toilets, electricity, or any of those things, and they're just sort of made out of logs and whatnot, there aren't many houses. And when the troops are encamped or embedded in an area, they might want a place to sleep. And if you're all subjects of the crown and it's the crown's army, the crown is going to say, everybody let the soldiers sleep in your house. Luckily, America does most of its wars in other people's countries. But just as a reminder, you do not have to let the army sleep in your house. It's a big one. Look into the void, the great and terrible thought of non-existence, and ask yourself if you are worthy of the gifts bestowed upon you. I call them existential pranks, and they're going to be the next big thing. I've been informed that this is psychological warfare. At least you're not like flying over the city, dropping them out of a plane. Mole removal, $223. Crying, extra. Do not cry in front of us. It's $11 because you showed brief emotion. Was that supposed to be something else? I can't imagine. But there's a medical code for showing emotion, people. Who is anybody out there do medical coding at any point? You ever see something like that? Showed emotion. Cops on civil calls. Like I said, someone calls me because someone else on Facebook's bad mouthing them. Just because I care, just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand. I ruined the joke. Just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand. Cops on civil calls. I did this to somebody once, somebody I worked with. By the way, he basically runs the law enforcement academy in our state capital, but he and I used to work together at a facility for adults with disabilities. He was still in college at that point. It was a long time ago. But he and I were working a shift together in one of the houses with the guys, and he made some sort of passing reference to O.J. Simpson, which I knew happened, but probably when this guy was an infant, if it happened in his lifespan at all, because he's a little bit younger than me. And then he's talking about O.J. Simpson. I'm like, you mean the Buffalo Bills running back from the 70s? And he goes, yeah, he killed some people. And I'm like, what? He goes, and he didn't know me very well yet at this point. And I managed to convince him that I was totally ignorant of the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. And we're sitting there discussing it. His mind is blown. The thing that I know O.J. Simpson for is being the franchise leading running back for the Buffalo Bills. So he literally gets up from his chair and goes over to the computer because he's going to Wikipedia this to show me that it has been an established fact for 25 years that O.J. Simpson was suspected of, charged with, and acquitted of the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson in a case that was infamous to define the 90s in popular culture and beyond. And that, in fact, O.J. Simpson is known for being a murderer, not a football player, not even being a movie star. And what was funny about it is as he moves across the room to access the computer to show me, he is so dumbfounded by my lack of understanding of the situation that he hit his knee. He hit his knee on the desk and really hurt himself. So when I saw this meme this week, not that one, the O.J. Simpson one, where's it at? Oh gosh, I lost it. Yeah, when I saw this meme this week, I sent it to him on Instagram. And I believe I'm going to quote his response to you. I'm going to actually pull it up. But I'll never forget that moment, that moment where he literally hurt himself. Um, oh gosh, I don't see it here. But I believe his response was his response September 6th was stop it. Oh. I know it doesn't translate, and all of you guys are just sitting there waiting for me to do the next beat, but you can't understand how perfectly the last, the last 11 years have gone for this moment for me to send this meme to this guy. It's fine, right? And I'm just sitting here laughing in front of you. Folks making fun of me for being all consuming. I'm seasoning cast iron skillets. I think we talk about that last week about how cast iron doesn't work or something. I don't remember. Jonathan pretending that he can just show memes and not talk. Yeah. I cannot shut up. I think my microphone, actually, do you guys remember last week when my microphone exploded on me? I think that was my microphone. Even my microphone was tired of hearing me. What happened was that some of the components went bad inside and it started producing this hiss on channel 5, which none of you care about. But like when I was trying to record stuff for Thursday, like I realized I couldn't, like the show's over. Like there's a persistent hiss and I had to tease that out. I can't believe I sat here for an hour waiting for my doctor's appointment. I know, like, what's the point of showing up? You might as well show up and like check in. And then like, if there's something to do next door, just go next door. They should like give you a little text when the doctor will see you now. Like if honestly, if Outback Steakhouse can give you a little, a little thing, a little kerjigger, it's going to vibrate while you sit outside and smoke and drink. The doctor's office should give you one of these too. Okay, you're number 17, or here's your text message. And that way you can go next door. Now, if you go next door or whatever, you go outside to smoke or to drink or whatever at your doctor's office, and they call you 3 times, tuberculosis party of 1, and you don't go in there and they call you 3 times, tuberculosis party of 1. You forfeit your appointment and you just keep it moving. Why can a restaurant do it better than a doctor's office? By the way, I would just love it. Tuberculosis party of 1, and you get up and you have to walk back there. And now everyone knows your diagnosis. That gets even funnier when you think about it potentially being other diseases, but I'll let you just go ahead and swap those in for yourself. You don't need me to do it. Quartering of troops is bad, but drawing of troops is okay. Michael Hendricks, just jockeying for my position here on the show. I don't know why he thinks he has to upstage me. $11 per tier. My friend does medical coding, and he said there's a code for everything. Got hit by a moose on a hike. There's a code. Well, I wonder if there's a code for your behavior. My 5-0 cousin used to talk about she said blank on Facebook calls as well as my kid won't listen to me. Our country's in serious trouble. Yeah, I'm dealing with those all the time. And I've gotten very mouthy. Oh, is there a parent in the house? I'm the parent. Say it again. Actualize that. That day was like the number 1 day in American history for a pizza delivery because people were like, "Oh shit, I'm not making dinner. I'm not leaving this. I'm not going out. I'm going to pizza delivery. We're just going to watch OJ." Tally, what about the hit by a moose on that? Yeah, I'll let you guys discuss that. You'd think the running backs reel would be more popular. Try to understand that. Well, I made a statement about that once. I know you won't appreciate this, but I was doing a comparison between O.J. Simpson and Casey Anthony with Eric. And Eric posited that O.J. Simpson was one of the most evil men to ever live. And I said, he was not one of the most evil, not even close. And he goes, well, why do you say that? He was a hell of a running back. That was my sole argument. I know about the coding, but I haven't seen a document and bill of any delay in the procedure. Otherwise, you would be accused of billing for time. Now, this is interesting. I know about the coding, but I can see having to document any bill for any delay in the procedure. Right. Otherwise, you would be accused of billing for time, of overbilling for time. Okay. Said brief emotion, $11 though. So while I'm sitting in the office grieving the loss of my wife, am I going to be paying $11 for that? Like if that happened, like if someone I love died in a car accident and the doctor comes in and tells me and I'm in the office and crying because my life's over, I'm going to get billed for that? Better not. I want to grieve for free. That's right. And you know why? Because I'm a white male. There's the take of the day. Trial. Trial. I'm driving screws while listening to you, though, John. Well, I'm glad. That's a real man's job. I must have felt like an astronaut experiencing space for the first time. Again, Lauren, I'm sorry, but you got to tailor this to what you mean. I'm sorry. Laughing because of the work injury defending the OJ case. Yeah, he hurt his knee. And by the way, this is a guy, he's grown up now, but at the time he was, he was still in college. He was kind of one of the sweeter guys. He would never say anything mean to anybody. Really, truly nice guy. Like this guy helped me move once. I don't know why. Came to my wedding. Really nice guy. But he I remember he said, God, you're such a dick. It's insane. Kerjigger, yes, Kerjigger. Did you get home safely, Drew? Let's not forget to use adverbs properly. Folksy. I waited off at the dentist, no joke, for almost 3 hours before I no longer go to that dentist. No surprise why. Well, they don't need the help, Eric was like, OJ was a wackadoodle, and John was like, well, actually, it's important to remember. I like how Michael just has his broad takes about what it's like to podcast with Eric. Clarifying, I don't know about the coding. I just know the detailed EMS reports have to be. Otherwise, we don't get paid. Cooking, John. Well, you should have finished that earlier. Why are you cooking at this hour at 9:44 a.m.? It's ridiculous. Get your shit done earlier in the day. I yell at my fans was the name of an episode recently of the show. You want to come out of my cage and be doing just fine in this economy? Come on now, the killers. Good morning to all the English teachers gleefully selecting short stories for their students to read that reveal a disturbing truth about the human condition that will still wake them up in the middle of the night decades from now. Shirley Jackson, The Lottery. Thank you, Miss McCoy. It was, I believe, 11th grade, and that warped me forever, for all time, reading Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. For all those of you who think that Edgar Allan Poe is the end all and be all of spooky literature, you have no idea. I mean, there's a case to be made for Mary Shelley, but Shirley Jackson, open it up. Television is better for you than your phone. It's like vaping versus smoking. Apple cider is way better than pumpkin spice. It's the superior autumnal beverage, and I am willing to throw down over this. Well, I guess, first of all, I agree with your argument, but not in how it's constructed. I think we all need to address the fact that there's a lot of lazy and ignorant people out there. I mean, that's what the show was built to confront. But what do you mean by pumpkin spice? I'm seeing a lot of memes out there about how when you order these things that are pumpkin spice, they don't even taste like pumpkin. Pumpkin spice does not taste like pumpkin. In fact, there is no such thing as pumpkin spice. It is pumpkin pie spice. It's the spices you put in pumpkin pie. When you go out and get a PSP macchiato or whatever, of course there's no pumpkin in it. This isn't a time for pumpkin. No one likes the taste of pumpkin. In fact, it takes all of those just to make a pumpkin pie edible. Pumpkin tastes awful. It's pumpkin pie spice. And whenever I hear someone say pumpkin spice, I know that I'm dealing with some sort of inbred lazy animal. And it boils my blood. That said, apple cider is definitely the way to go. You know what's amazing is that I can recall being in kindergarten and hearing the story of Johnny Appleseed going all across this great country, planting apple trees because he's just a great guy. And of course, my conception of an apple from when I'm 4 is just be like, oh, it's that thing we eat on fruit break. You know, that's me at 4, by the way, beard and everything. But he's going around planting apple trees so that people could turn apples into hard cider and get drunk. What's the name of that apple cider that Patrick Stewart hawks? Strongbow apple cider or something? He's basically just doing that. And was he wrong for that? No, but I wish I had been told at a reasonable time that that's what was going on. Block me on everything when you get home so I know you're safe, Drew. Last week it was Venmo me when you get home so I know you're safe. Now it's block me on everything when you get home so I know you're safe. I've had a date end this way. Women, can you explain this to me? Do you mind if I diverge for 1 second to actually get someone to explain this to me? So I went on a date. It was after work. I went on a date after work. So it was starting at midnight. It wasn't going to be anything too serious. And it was a first date. I was just meeting her. We go out to a bar, and I bought a pint of Guinness, and I got one for her. She had never had Guinness before. She wanted to try it, and she liked it. She drank, I think she maybe drank all or most of it. I might have ordered a second for her, and I drank my Guinness too. And we sat there talking, and it was an okay conversation. I won't say it was like the most engaging conversation of all time, but it was okay. Given the lateness of the hour and as tired as I was, I don't think I was my most charismatic, but I don't think that it did a bad job. I think it was a good first date, particularly when you're my age, and like, what is a first date going to be? I remember thinking she was really cute, and she was. I was pretty lucky to be on this date, even if this is all it was ever going to be. It was still a fun time. But it was getting late. I don't know if it was getting to be 1 or 2 in the morning, but the bar was going to close in any event. So I settled the tab, and we stepped outside, and she looks up at me and she says, "Can I have a kiss?" Well, Ernest Hemingway says, you never let a chance to kiss a girl pass you by. He said something like that. Just Google Ernest Hemingway. Anyway, I'm thinking about Ernest Hemingway in this moment. This girl asks me to kiss her. So I do. And it's a great kiss because I'm a good kisser. And then, she didn't want to hang out anymore after that, which is okay because I was tired. So, I bid her good night, and she left, and then I left, and I went home. And then she never spoke to me ever again. I can't reconcile that because it's like, if you just want the free beer, that's fine. I know what it's like to be exploited. I half enjoy it. But why did you want the kiss? And if you wanted if you wanted a kiss, why was it that you never wanted to see me again? I don't get how like the whole evening leads up to something, and then just after that you decide it wasn't worth it or it wasn't fun. Because like the amount of time that happened between when I kissed you and you decided you never wanted to see me again, uh, that wasn't long. Is it just that my kiss must have been pretty bad? Was it that? Am I just a bad kisser? Is that what that means? Or was I just a cheap thrill? Just a throwaway pleasure? Anyway, let's see what the chat says. John, she was a man and you didn't know how to tell you. She was definitely not a man. I could tell. Believe me, in these modern times, you must always check. I think she wanted a kiss to see if there was a spark. Like the kiss might have been a deciding factor. Like could have been a good kiss, but not smart. No spark. Do adult women really operate that way? Like you have to have a kiss and it has to be a Disney moment for you? Why would you want a kiss for someone that you don't like? By the way, this was not in 2025. I did not check her quite like Crocodile Dundee did. She was testing the beard and decided she didn't like the way it felt. Shaving your back end. No, I guarantee you the beard is a big part of my appeal. No other thoughts? All right. No real revelations here. You know what I think it was? I can only assure you she wasn't even mannish at all. Like even the height, she was very short. I tend to like shorter women. But yeah, no, I think it's just girls being girls. I think that they do things for no reason, and that and then they know that I'm going to try to get to the bottom of that intellectually, and it's just a well with no bottom. So I just fall in, and they laugh about that. It's not a Disney moment. It's just like feeling sometimes it's there and sometimes it isn't. Well, why don't you know that whether or not before you kiss someone? I hate to tell you this. You know what you're going to hate hearing is that men are the only ones with true emotions. We will kill for women. We will build and destroy empires for a woman, for a woman's love. Women don't care. They'll meet someone else who makes slightly more money and then they're gone. They're the ones that care about looks. We're the ones that we will fight and conquer for a woman's heart and buy 2 beers for them. Anyway, what do I have to do? Like look her up and find a picture of her and show you? She wasn't masculine at all, believe me. I would rather date no one than go out with even a slightly masculine looking woman. I'm in no danger of that. Do you believe in second chances? Yeah, I usually give about 5 or 6 before I realize I'm a fucking idiot. I'm all over the place with these memes. What's a conspiracy theory that you all believe in? Every time there's a new chicken sandwich what? CIA got her ass before she could finish. As an alpha male, which we've discussed on the show as being a pointless thing to say about yourself, and automatically undoes you as an alpha male. I rebuke roller coasters. I will not be jostled and flown along in a silly track according to another man's engineering, flipping around some pervert's dream. And what if I squeal? I just don't like pretending like I'm dying for fun. So that's why I won't get on a roller coaster. My mother hates me, so I never leave my room while she's awake. Bagel soup. Yeah, my mom hated me too, and I also generally stayed in my room. I'm not a soup guy though. Guys, just something to think about. Did you realize that you're just one illegal business away from generational wealth? You're so close, just one illegal business away. I can't wait for all the Halloween memes, by the way. It's going to be good. Does your friend plan on coming back as a skeleton after they die? Guys, remember, if it doesn't say rest in peace on your tombstone, you are automatically drafted into the skeleton wars and they are coming. Look for the warning signs. Did they start saying no bones about it? Did they drink whole milk and say feels good afterwards? Are they learning to play the xylophone? Could be a sign that they're planning to come back as a skeleton after they die. Do they plan on living easy off of a skeletal retirement? That is a dead giveaway. Do they hate boneless wings? What's going on there? Did they accidentally call Dracula dad? Oh, I wonder what they're thinking about. Are their greatest dreams involving having their face on a bottle of poison one day? Could be a sign that they're going to come back as a skeleton after they die. Are they building a car made out of bones for later? That's how you know. Dead giveaway, people. Look for the warning signs. Sorry, bro. There's no way I could fix it. We've all had soft tissue damage in our lower back. Friend group, baby, this is a cult. Right now, I'm reading a book about Charles Manson and just the similarities between this podcast and everything he was doing in Haight Ashbury in the late 60s. Parallels are, they're there. Mold poisoning and multiple concussions made me into a free thinker. You know, if I fall down the stairs one more time, I think I could solve JFK. This sorry to swerve so strongly back into politics. I should organize these better, but literally all you had to do was not cheer for cold-blooded murder. It was easy to avoid these pitfalls. It was easy. Just don't cheer for cold-blooded murder. Say nothing. Didn't your mother teach you that if you can't say anything nice about cold-blooded murder, that you shouldn't say anything at all or something? You know, there's some sort of story there or lesson. I think it's there. I drove by a Chili's last night and got total fear of missing out. I bet there were some amazing memories being created in there and stories that can't be retold. There are. Even I have my own Chili's stories. I'm not joking. I one time went to a Chili's, and when I came out, my car was destroyed. That literally happened to me. I will tell you that story on the next episode. We cut open the cake at the gender reveal party, and out spill thousands of fire ants. The guests howl. Fire ants are mostly male, I explain. God, there's so many more memes. Nice car. Yeah, it's got 400 horsepower. Man, that's like 7,000 ducks. What? 400 horsepower actually equals, apparently, 1,139,844.92 duck power. So massively underestimated how much duck power that would be. Hey, dude, it's so cool that you're in town. I have 7 minutes between work and a dental appointment. If you want to stand inside a parking garage and catch up, this is me going home, seeing friends in Virginia. I'm going to be on my own most of the time. I'm sure of it. What do? Holding up the menu. You just choose a meal from this book of food. Is it that I didn't order any food for my date? It was 12 o'clock at night. Who eats at that hour? I probably offered. These pills will fix your brain. Well, thank you. That might also make it much worse, though. What? Oh, this cure for depression may cause suicidal thoughts and feelings and tendencies. Very nice. Why are there like 5 chores where if you skip them for 2 days, your life becomes a time-based psychological thriller afterwards? The dishes, probably one of them. I just tried driving the speed limit. They cannot be for real. I've tried driving the speed limit lately. Are you kidding me? 55 is a speed? Are you joking? If you're going 55, you might as well go 85. You're not going to survive a crash at 55. You're not. You might as well not waste your life. In the meantime, your precious life that is apparently worth saving, but you're going to waste it driving 55 instead of 85? Are you joking? 55? Oh, I get it. 35 in town or whatever, 45. 55? Just do 85. And let's face it, gang, if you're going to do 85, you're doing 90. Try driving the speed limit sometime. I dare you. It does not seem right. This one goes out to Cupcakes and Cameos, to Heather. The vibes are just not right at any CVS location. Feels wrong there. Do not go there. I just heard my neighbor crying, which I hope she wasn't at a doctor's clinic because otherwise she's going to pay $11 for that. Which probably means, unfortunately, she could probably be hearing me sing the Monster Mash in different voices. They did the mash. Let's just take each other out. Are we talking about dinner or death? I mean, I'm cool with either. I just need to schedule it properly. It's kind of beautiful that all flight attendants are either gay sons or thought daughters. In disguise, they are finally free. I hate to tell you this, but this is so true. Every time I've flown, I see like these really super good looking women. You know, it helps that their work apparel is something that generally flatters them. And then I see these like little gay guys. And you know what makes me mad? I cannot be a flightman guy, flight attendant, steward. I'm too tall. I stand up to go to the bathroom. I stand up to get off the plane. I'm like, well, my neck hurts this entire time. How is it that a plane that I can stand up in this room, but I can't stand up in a plane? You're telling me the plane is smaller than this room? Guys, life doesn't make any sense. My cat's breaking into the casket after I die because they want wet food. Guys, cats do not love you. I accidentally watched a video on cat behavior once down my algorithm on YouTube. Occasionally throws me a cat video, and it's like, they love you so much. They think of you as a cat. They think of you as their dad. When they lick your hand, it's because they truly appreciate you. Then why will he eat me if I die? Me, extremely burned out. I need to take the day off to relax. Yeah, this is me. This is where I'm at. I wonder if there's a way I could relax that would be more productive. This was literally me on Saturday. I worked overnight from Friday to Saturday. So I get off Saturday morning at 6. I come home and sleep for a bit, a few hours. Then I get up and I'm just like, oh man, well, nothing really to do today. You know, I just better catch up on my sleep so that, you know, tomorrow I'm 100% back to normal after being awake all night. But I probably could clean out my car while I'm doing that. I could probably replace the spark plug in the mower. I could probably just mow. I'll just go ahead and mow. By the way, I don't know why my camera does that. My camera's probably sick of looking at me. So I don't know how to relax either. Oh man, so many memes. You know what I should do? I should just set a limit on how many memes that there will be per week. What do you guys think a good number is? 30? 30 memes? Ah, yes, the real 5 love languages. Touch starved. My parents never said they were proud of me. Check. Check. I love things. Yeah, I love some things. Yeah. I love things. Yeah. I'm so exhausted by my life. Please let me rest for 5 minutes. Yeah. That's me saying that to my own self. And hey, pay attention to me. I guess I have a podcast. Hey, pay attention to me. I wasn't ready for that. My girlfriend is half Korean. Her mom is Korean, and her dad is Korean. And her legs got ripped off in a car accident. Had me on the first half. The car got her on the second half. People are like, we know less about the deep ocean than we do the moon. Good. Have you seen what's down there in the ocean? Deep sea anglers, guys. It has been since before I was 30. I wanted, for my 30th birthday, I wanted to shoot a deep sea anglerfish. But have you seen what's down there? It's terrifying. Squid, octopi, cuttlefish. I don't like any of it. We should know as little about it as possible. The entire reason to go into space is to get farther from the ocean. Completely agree. Also, if we wanted to drop a couple nukes into the Marianas Trench, I have a real hard time with the downside of that. What would be the downside of nuking the Marianas Trench? Can anyone think of anything? The radiation's not going to pour up. The compressed layers of water, that's going to be an excellent barrier for radiation. It nukes all the life down there, cleans it out. For those of you who hate nuclear proliferation, this gets rid of some of the nukes. Seems like a great idea to nuke the Marianas Trench. And Challenger Deep. That's the other one. So nuke both of those things. I think that's a strong take. Where am I at? It's very hard to keep track of where I'm supposed to be on these memes. Breakfast is 300 calories. Yep, keep a nice clean breakfast. Very light, very light. Then lunch, a little heavier, 400 calories. Not bad. Doing okay. Dinner, 600 calories. You're going to finish off the evening strong. You're going to kind of, treat yourself a little bit to a nice dinner. Of course, it's a hot meal, so it's going to have a little bit more calories in it. But then your evening snack, 2,400,000 calories. This is literally the trap I fall into every single night. Here's my weekend. You have Saturday to have fun. It's just time to relax. It's been a long week. It's been a hard week. You're burned out. Just go and have fun. Do whatever you want to do. But then on P's Day, the day in between, that's when you run your errands. You do laundry. You clean out your truck. Do all your laundry. Mow the grass, whatever. And then on Sunday, you finally get to rest, sleep in, have a little breakfast, watch football, be with your families if that's something that you like to do, and just relax and get ready for Sunday. A 2-day weekend is not enough. It's not enough. I can't drive 55, Michael says. Thank you. Ha ha ha. Fire ants meme. I like it when he references what he's laughing about. That's what I like. I'm probably not interacting with you guys enough, right? Because like 20 chats goes by without me saying anything. My hubby likes shorter women too. I'm 5'1". He's 6'1". 5'1". God damn it. You realize you qualify as a midget in most states. Cupcakes. 5'1". Do you have a handicap placard? Are you on disability? 5'1". Forget me like eschewing roller coasters. You don't even get the option, do you? Holy shit. 5'1". I can't even meet you. I wouldn't be able to. How would that even happen? Heather, I would love to meet you. You've been such a fan of the show all these years. Come meet me at a place where I'm already sitting down. I mean, how else would we choreograph that? I've probably been near you before, and I've never seen you. I brought my husband a beer before we started dating. That's what I said to him. I don't know what you said to him because the way you constructed this is confusing. That's what sold him. Oh, well, if I read it correctly, then I can understand him. One of my biggest conservative trans commentators is Blair White, biological male, only 5'4". I'm not going to watch this person. So good to know. But if you watched my episode of Hard Time from this past Friday, I think I'm not going to waste my time indulging wickedness. Anyway, my father is 7 years older than me. My wife is. Have you tried finding one who is desperate with a ticking biological clock? Oh, I suppose, if I was desperate to get married, which I'm not. My first words to my husband were, "You had better not be like the other fucking Fernando I know." Fernando sounds like the name of a guy that would be like in a soap commercial. Sorry. My husband is 3 years older. We'll be married for 12 years in October. Good for you. I like how you corrected it like I wouldn't know what October meant. She even dumped me when I was in college to rekindle after. I said it was just for my money. Well, you're a lawyer. I think you kind of opened that door and walked through it, counselor. I'm 6 years older than my husband, but we've been together 16 years. He was 19 and I was 25 when we got together. Okay. Why is everyone sharing all this? Like how I'm like just generally just not about the personal revelations. Why is anyone telling us things? I'm seriously 5 to 10 years older than she. Mostly because I'm bald and my beard is mostly gray and she dyes her hair natural color. Well, better than blue. I called her a cougar. Yeah, you guys are all just talking to each other about your wives and your husbands. I work at Walgreens, pretty much the same thing. Well, I was trying to get a little team spirit going there. Sorry, Tyler. Clean off this. Okay, yeah, you guys are just talking to each other. You know what? From now on, I hate to lay down an edict for this show, but I don't have time. I don't have time for this. If you want me to read it, start the chat with my name from now on, so I know you're talking to me. We use personal address, this thing we've used for thousands of years to solve confusion, to prevent confusion. So if you're talking to me, just say John, comma. This meme that about the fire ants was very hilarious. That reminds me of the following brief anecdote. That will actually save me time. Michael, the Korean meme. Thank you. Contrary to popular opinion, it is not as fun as it sounds to hug a cuttlefish. No, I'm very much against cuttlefish. Nothing named Challenger has ever gone well. The shuttle, the car, the deep. Okay, well, I have one of those, so. Few things are scarier me than a fucking anglerfish. And don't you hate them? You do qualify as a midget or midget American. I don't know what you want to be called. I don't know where you're from. She has a handicap placard, but she can't reach the rear view mirror to hang it. She has to get a full-size adult. Can you hang this for me? What does Jonathan see as short for women, but non-existent short? I'm 5 foot and hubby is 5'8". Yeah, I couldn't meet you either, Foxy. Just forget it. Glad I could make you laugh, Heather. That's the whole point. Yes, Chase just gets here and says something. I'm 6'4". My wife is 5 something ish. Your wife is a height that I actually met her though. When I encountered her, I knew about it, Drew. So, John, to whom it may concern. Very well done. But I have trouble with any sentence which constructs me as the object rather than the subject. So just be careful there. I don't want to be downplayed. Let's get to the end. Let's get this fucking show over with. I think people are tired of it. Back to the memes. We already did that one, and that one, and that one, and this one, and that one, So this one troubles me because this is very clearly a parody of that moment from The Fugitive. But our young people making memes don't know about The Fugitive, so they just make this meme about Millhouse, not knowing that this is a parody of The Fugitive. But anyway, it rings true nevertheless. I'm telling you, I'm just reading you the show. I didn't want you to play it in Netflix. I don't care. No, and he jumps. I recently got back Netflix, and there's a lot of good true crime docs on there. It's part of the reason why I like Netflix. But yeah, like I hover over it just long enough to read it, and it just starts fucking playing it, and it's really loud for some reason. They always play the loudest parts. Why? Here's Officer Drew. Any drugs or alcohol today? No, but I vape. Look, pal, I don't give a shit if you're gay. Just answer the question. In the old days, you would occasionally run into somebody totally normal who had one utterly insane belief, like a coworker who just casually says he thinks the sun is alive. Social media is like if we extracted all of those individual bits of madness, cooked them into a stew, and then ate it for every meal. Again, my whole tirade last week about how social media is bad for us, which lasted exactly 38 minutes, could have been distilled down to this. So good job to Jason K. Pargin, the author, for being concise. Just a reminder that we used to have the freedom to enjoy our $3 Taco Bell large combo over a refreshing cigarette. We truly had it all. We did. We did not appreciate it. I think if I would travel back in time, it would be to warn OJ that someone's about to kill his wife so that he can stop them. And then I would also go to Taco Bell and smoke and have some Taco Bell. Shipmate. Captain, we're about to head straight for the lighthouse. Captain, who is a moth? Fuck yeah, we are. Back into the casual, I want to erase all evidence of my existence kind of mood. Yeah, that's me. Welcome to fall, where my desire to be non-existent. Now, I don't want to die. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to die, but I don't want to be alive either. I think there's a great chasm between those two things. People assume that if you don't want to be alive, they think that you're suicidal. They think you don't want to. They think that you want to commit suicide or that you want to die. No, I just don't want to be alive. Why does it have to be A or B? Why can't it be C? Can we get a plate of French fries for the table? First day as a waiter. I don't think we're allowed to feed the tables. Boss. Can I see you for a sec? Yeah, what's up, boss? You're doing a great job. I want those tables to starve. Men should be more in touch with their emotions, all four of them. Rage, yearning for the outdoors, being suspicious of things, and gay thoughts. This from Luke, by the way. All four of our emotions: rage, yearning for the outdoors, being suspicious of things, and gay thoughts. Those are our four emotions. If you pick chicken breast over thighs, I know you can't cook. Agreed. There's a lot more fat in the thigh, a lot more delicious. Chicken breast has its place, but if you're going to actually make something, you better be going thigh. A lobotomy wouldn't even affect me, guys. Perhaps that comes to surprise to no one after an hour and 43 fucking minutes of this. A lobotomy wouldn't even affect him. We're not chilling after this. It's group nap time. This and chill: pancake, sausage, bacon, hash browns, eggs, cinnamon rolls. This looks like the breakfast I will be eating later this week because I am going to have a real breakfast. The company wants you to know it's okay to struggle mentally. Okay. Like, don't though. Don't struggle mentally. Because that would imply that we would actually have to let you to take time away from work, and that we would have to care about you and help you and follow up and check in with you and actually make sure you get better. This falls into the classic chasm of, I have an open door policy. Tell me anything that's wrong. I want to know about it. Except when that policy exists and then you go and tell them about it, all of a sudden it puts them a burden on them that they actually have to do things and fix things. And then they know about problems. And then it's like, after you've told it to them and they don't fix it, then you get mad about it. And so that's why the open door policy stops existing. That's why they don't really care if you're struggling mentally. So if you're struggling mentally, just make sure you continue to bottle that shit up no matter what the poster says. That's just for hiring people. It's not for you. You fucked yourself by drinking too many cranberry ginger ales. Oh, it hurts. You fucked yourself up bad. You're going to die. It sounds like the doctor that my insurance can afford. You drank too many cranberry ginger ales and now you will die. All right. Just as fair warning, if you're done with the show, have a good day. The rest of the memes will now be highly political. No matter what you do in this building, everyone knows that it used to be a Pizza Hut. That is why the trans community fails to understand. It doesn't matter how you dress yourself up. Everyone knows what you were. And no one would be misgendering you if you could do a good job. If you really were a woman, if you really looked like a woman, no one would ever be calling you sir or Jim or whatever. And you wouldn't be calling yourself a trans woman or whatever, because the very construction of yourself and your label gives away the game. If you're a man and you became a woman, you would just be a woman. You wouldn't be a trans woman or whatever. And no one would be able to tell, and it wouldn't be an issue in our society. The whole reason why it's a problem is because we can all tell. You're not fooling anyone, but you're demanding that we be fooled, that we be foolish. And that's why I won't listen to a conservative commentator who's doing this, because his entire life is based off of the perpetuity of a lie. That we're all going to just believe this thing about him. By the way, why is it that you can have a man think that he might be a woman, that he's not feeling very manly? I think I might be a woman inside. I was born in the wrong body. I don't feel like a man. Why don't we give him testosterone to help him feel like a man? Dude, you're obviously a man. You got a dick right there. If we're going to give you hormone therapy anyway, which is always dangerous and always a bad idea because your body's clearly not making enough of the hormone that you need, why don't we give you the hormone that you need? Why isn't it even an option? Why do we just believe him that he thinks he's a woman? Give him testosterone. See if he enjoys that first before you make any dangerous, irreversible decisions. See if he enjoys that. Because it's just possible that he's had too much soy coffee. And if you give him a steak and rub some testosterone cream on him and give him some cocaine and let him drink some tiger blood like Charlie Sheen, maybe he'll like being a man. At least let him try it. Fuck. Why no one even thinks of that? They don't even think about it. Well, while you still are a male, why don't we let you see if you'll enjoy it? Because we can probably help you enjoy that. Nope, can't do that. Technical question. I own 61 firearms, including 14 AR-15s. I would love to own 14 AR-15s. I wouldn't even know what to do with that many. I mean, aside from secede. If guns kill people, why aren't mine working? Is it because they're not transgender? Perhaps your guns need to undergo an operation. Finally, this is the most disgusting thing, is that someone painted a mural of that poor girl who was slashed to death for being white on a bus. Someone wrote that, made a beautiful mural of her to remind you, and wrote Ukrainian lives matters, because of course Ukrainian lives matter. Of course they do. And then they crossed out matters and they defaced the rather nice looking mural to her, and they painted over it, and they drew her killer in her place. You want to talk about Charlie Kirk deserving it because of what he believed? This girl didn't say she believed specifically in anything. She was just murdered. But that's this side. That's who they are. They're just pro-murder. It doesn't matter if it's Charlie Kirk. It doesn't matter if it's an innocent girl on the bus. They just like murder. They just like killing. That's who they are. And I will make no peace with them. I will not make peace with people who espouse and celebrate in murder. I won't. No one's asking me to, of course, so I'm not taking a big stand. I'm not some sort of courageous person. But all these people, these Ted Cruz people saying, well, we need to come together in common understanding and be one country. I will not make peace with people who celebrate murder, who take the time to make a nice portrait of a murderer. I won't. Do not make peace with evil. You will do not be complicit in evil. Do not understand evil. This is evil. And do not misunderstand mental illness when it is evil. There is such a thing as mental illness, but there is also evil. Does this look like the work of mental illness to you? It's just the work of evil. Give no quarter, make no peace with evil, and recognize that your countrymen may be evil, and be on guard. And yes, they are your countrymen. But they won't treat you as their countrymen. Remember that. That brotherly love that you have for them, as you would for your neighbor, just remember you may be looking at a Philadelphia Eagles fan who you're just trash to them. And that if you get murdered, they're going to paint over your mural with your murderer. She's an innocent girl, a victim. She espoused no political ideology, no partisanship. She didn't go around challenging anyone, making anyone defend their point of view. She escaped a war zone for a better life, trying to get away from violence, trying to live her life. Murdered at random by an animal who should have been in a cage, who should have been put down as the bad dog that he was, a continued threat to everyone's safety, for no reason other than the crime of being white, the ultimate crime anymore. And they painted over her killer with her mural with one of her killer. And this is reason number 5,729 why I will never align with the left. And if you think I'm way out there and I'm way off base, you're on the wrong side. You think I have a closed mind? Well, I might just have moral clarity. I might just think murder's wrong. Call me old-fashioned. I'm one of those guys who thinks the way we thought just a year ago or 5 years ago or 20 years ago. I'm convinced that if 9/11 happened today, 50 to 51% or more of this country would be cheering it on. I got pretty biblical on Friday, and I talked about Jonah wanting Nineveh to be destroyed by God's wrath and being disappointed by God's goodness when he saved Nineveh. I'm right on the cusp, right? I half want God's wrath to come down and clean out this country, and the other half desperately wants God to save it. I don't know. I shouldn't have to get mad, right? It should be so preposterous that someone wants to paint over a murder victim with her murderer. Would we do this with Nicole Brown Simpson? Would we paint over her mural with OJ? Would we paint over Kaylee Anthony with Casey Anthony? Would we paint over a mural with those 4 students from Idaho? Would we paint over them and paint Brian Koberger in their place? Would we paint over Sharon Tate with Charlie Manson? This country says yes. Fuck, I ruined my own day. I don't get to have a good day now. John with the hot takes. I know. And I do them here because I don't want to get fired from Comm Center. Okay. Wish I could have a rainy day. I need one. It'll calm me down. All right. So here's the deal. I'll probably be gone next week. I'm on vacation from work, and I may do a show. I don't know what I'm doing that Monday, because on Monday I'm not going anywhere. I'm not necessarily doing anything. I don't fly out till Tuesday. So it's like, do I want my vacation to start and just be free of all obligations as of Monday? Well, actually, I mean, my vacation starts on Thursday. As of Friday, I'm not, that's the start of my weekend. So am I going to do things or not? I don't know. So I might not be here next week. If I am, it's not because I died or, well, I mean, I may have died incidentally, but I mean, like, that's, the two things aren't necessarily related. But may not be here next week. Already planning to be gone from Hard Time. So I don't know what's going on with Comm Center. I'm going to text Drew today, let him know that, like, what my plans are. He already kind of knows. If I drove you away, based off of my comments in the last few minutes, I guess we were never friends. Just remember, when you take a stand, which, by the way, isn't even really a stand, just being against murder, and people will walk away from you for that, you're keeping the wrong company anyway. Maybe it's just because I don't have a lot of friends. I just don't think that people are really worth keeping around anymore. It's too hard to appease everyone. What can you do? All right, guys, that's the end of the show. I'm going to go. It's literally 2 fucking hours. How did I manage to get 2 hours out of the show? I'm going to set better limits in the future, set better expectations for myself. And, if I just save some memes and keep them in like a bank, I don't have to work so hard. So the new limit, I think, will be 25 memes. And if the show's shorter, that'll be better. I think it'd be better for the channel, too, for someone to see that I do an episode that's only like an hour long, not 2 hours. All right. How do you end the show? Well, I can't scroll up to get to the thing I do at the top, so I just show like this one meme. All right, guys. We will catch you back here next time. Thanks for everyone who was supporting of the show and listening to me. What can I say? I can't even play the music. Bye, everybody.